Relentless.
Heavy Sunday song.
That's
Canadian treasures, the Arkells.
yeah.
They're awesome.
That kind of explains Wacey's weekend. It was a relentless pursuit of the city softball championships. Came
But
up the fourth losers.
Came a little short.
Lost in the
unfortunately.
semifinals.
Which is okay. We were all sick of playing ball, so it was good to be done. We'd had to play a game right again at 5, so
Oh, so
everybody had enough. Yes.
So the finals would have been at 5?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. So you got close. So did you get like bronze? Like fifth?
No, I didn't get nothing.
You didn't get stuff. You played 5 games and they didn't say, "Hey, thanks for coming." No.
Well, they said. Well, obviously they said that, but
Did you get a show up check? Like a show up prize?
No. They don't pay out like that.
Like a trophy T-shirt
It wasn't
or
a cash
like
tournament.
nothing.
No.
Nothing. Just thanks for coming.
Yeah, we didn't. We weren't the winners, man.
I guess. So what would you have won if you would have won?
A key to the city.
Oh, and then but what can you do with that?
I don't know. Lock people out. I don't know.
Question: if you had a key to the city, who would you lock out?
Oh, a lot of people. Got a lot of
problems with a lot of people.
A lot of problems. A lot of people need to be locked out of Calgary. I can list off a few. I'm sure.
Do it. We made
a funny joke in our group chat because like one of our players had moved to Victoria, Tatum.
Oh yeah.
And we were bugging him. It's like tell him that we're playing in this tournament and said we're gonna lock him out if we win. Lock him out of Cal. He's the first person we're locking out. So
yeah.
I probably would have stayed true to that, but a few other people that I don't need to mention.
We're not gonna go there.
Not gonna go there.
This is so we're kind of like a few minutes in here, but this is cowboy shit with Ted and Wacey.
This is 48.
Yeah, episode 48, man.
Damn.
Yeah, and
that's crazy,
isn't it? It's kind of cool. It's kind of like
I think back to like the first few shows, like how bad we were at this.
Oh god, it probably sounded bad.
Yeah,
we were bad.
Oh, so bad.
Remember how many times we dropped the F-bomb in the first show?
Oh, it was bad. My mom got mad at me.
We just made a point of just saying the F word.
Oh, dude,
just because we wanted to.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, like how much this has helped with like. Just like everything, like being able to, but like being able to speak in front of people or like be up behind a mic, like
really. So you're saying by podcasting, you've grown your surroundings?
Yeah, you just get more comfortable, right? And
really,
like it helps with like conversation. Like we basically have a conversation with each other and somebody every time, and you just talk about things. Yeah, I'm like, wait, I'm comfortable. I can put myself in any situation behind a mic, and it doesn't faze me at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you've used the podcast in your professional life to grow yourself, Wacey.
Thanks, man.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it.
I think it's been good on my end too, though. Like,
it's cool. Yeah.
And then so this episode brought to you by the Canadian Professional Rodeo.
It is
number CFR 46 in Red Deer, October 29th to November 3rd.
Halloween CFR.
NMAX Centrium. Actually, no, it's just the Centrium now. I take it back.
No more NMAX.
No more NMAX.
Hit
just
the road.
Centrium. So here we are, though. 48.
That's cool. This looks like they've just talking about CFR and what they've been doing, like leading up to it now, opposed to last year. Looks like they got some like cool stuff going on.
Oh yeah. Well, and the guest we have on the show, Mr. Jeff Robson, he's the GM of the CPRA. He is in doing it. This is his second stint as the GM.
Yeah.
But he mentions a few of those things that are going on. They got the Canadian finals and the breakaway.
Yeah.
During the couple afternoons, and then. They've asked me to do a hot stove of sorts, so we're working on that right now, and we'll see what that looks like. So,
lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, hopefully,
and that's what it needs, like to make it a better event.
Well, I don't think we would have got to do a hot stove if we hadn't done the podcast. Like we built ourselves into a new job.
Well, it's cool because, like, the more popularity it gets, like people like actually like they ask about the pod and they're curious. It's
when
cool.
you see them in person.
Yeah,
not just on the line.
Yeah, exactly. It's super cool. It's sweet to know that it's actually like reaching out, like reaching people.
Yeah, it's reaching people on the line, even though we don't know them or see them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's super cool.
So we appreciate you for listening. Thank you for listening.
We
everyone.
love you.
Yeah, let us know who you are. We appreciate knowing. It makes us think that we're not just doing this for nothing.
Not just talking to each other, just putting it out to the line.
Yeah, we're not just missing Sunday Night Football for no reason.
No,
like it's for you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's cool. And and then going back to CFR, like the music lineup they have this year, it's like way better than it was last year.
Okay.
It's like better. Like Corb's playing one night.
Yeah, that's gonna be kick ass.
Yeah, there's lots.
Last year he played at Bo's bar.
Yeah.
So this year he's got the whole thing. Like that's gonna be a rocker on Saturday night.
Oh hell yeah! Especially with his new EP out.
Yeah, we'll
cover your tracks.
Cover your tracks.
Yeah,
from our friend Corb Lund. A couple good songs in there. Cover of the Rolling Stone.
Yeah,
did that with Hayes Carl, and he's got Ride On with Ian Tyson.
That's
an
a
old
really good. That's a really good cover.
Man, isn't it badass? How many times are you going to play that this weekend in Bar?
I don't know. We'll see. I need to get it on my computer, but I'll get it on there.
Okay.
It's cool too because like I have a love hate with covers. Like sometimes I really like them, or I
really don't like
them. And he did really good with lots of those. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but they've been good.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I used a couple of them this last weekend in Olds. Had a good time up there.
Oktoberfest. Did you have some Oktoberfest beer?
I didn't actually this time.
I had some. I went to the Mashing Beer Festival.
Yeah.
On Friday when I got back from helping you, and they had Old Spear there.
Really?
Good stuff. They had a porter. It was very nice.
Oh, neat. Well, I want to get to one thing. Pendleton just wrapped up this week, and this show's not coming out till the 25th, but we, kind of sticking with some stuff that's went down. I got a thing it's kind of timely. Dalen Swearingen is in the race to make the NFR. At this time, this is going to come out the last week before the NFR,
he'll still be in the hunt till the end.
Yeah, he'll still be in the hunt. There's two guys that's coming down to Dalen Swearingen and Trey Kimsey. I don't know much about the whole story there on what is, but they're within $100 of each other.
Yeah,
it's taken $100,000 to make the NFR on the bull riding this year. I've never seen it that high before in my life.
A lot of money.
But Swearingen wins the first round in Pendleton. 88 points, and then I go look at the results, and he's not in the results in the aggregate because he didn't go to the short go because he was in Springfield because he's one of the top guys in the PBR right now as well.
Yeah, he's shooting the lights on the PBR.
Yeah, he's trying to make both finals.
Yeah,
but then he didn't get paid in the average in Pendleton, even though he had a higher score than somebody below him because he didn't go to the short go. What if a guy was hurt? Like, why are you taking money away from these guys? That's horseshit.
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, cool. That's a good point you make. Where like, what if somebody gets hurt? You're going to take them.
You're going to take their money away because of that?
There's no way they would do that,
right? You turn out the short go, you don't get your short go money. What if you're somewhere else and you can't make it back, or your truck breaks down? Like, come on.
That's the problem with rodeo and everything.
That's kind of like too broad. That's the problem. There's a lot of problems,
just like that's one of them though. It's just like it's
such a fucking small.
It's a pissing contest between two associations. It's like, why don't you guys just work together and keep everybody happy? Like that's what I mean that the problem is.
Yeah,
and you have that problem with even in amateur associations. Like amateur associations can't even work together. Like it's such a small world as it is. Why doesn't everybody just help each other out and work together to make it better?
How would that look though?
Well, just like what you hear,
even here in Canada,
use the FCA as an example. Like they won't co-sanction with an association because of a small little rule or something. That's stuff like that. It's like why not
just have one association?
Yeah, or work or at least work together. Like Jesus.
Yeah,
and even if
somebody doesn't do something, and this guy doesn't like this guy, and this guy pissed off this person, and
that's just stuff like that. Is I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
And it's
people, man. It's just people waste. People
dumb
got people got problem with other people, and it's just kind of how it is.
Stupid people.
They don't want to just. If everybody just adopted the LE, be different. But seriously, how would you work? How do the PBR and PRCA work together?
Yeah,
I don't know at this point. I don't know if it's even possible. Mm-hmm. I'd like to say like it was, but just
it's like you say, like just not taking money away from these guys. Like Dalen, it's his choice if he wants to go to the PBR, but don't.
What
take
if he drew a bull in the short run and he didn't want to get on?
Yeah. Like he made that ride and won the long round. And he still is in the average. Like you can't take that away from him.
I don't think so. But
it's hard enough to make money in it as it is.
Well, and he's qualifying. Like he's going past all this bullshit and still going to make both finals.
Yeah.
Right. So take that. Like you guys are going to fuck me over like that. Well, I'll go make the finals and go whoop your ass there.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
Whatever. I guess.
I just don't get it.
He probably wouldn't be pissed off about it, but I'm pissed off for him. So
how could he not be? He's out $2,000. Like really, like
$2,000 could have helped him make the NFR.
Yeah,
and this is just one instance where I saw it happen. Where else does it happen? Like it's probably not the first. It definitely is not the first time, but I just noticed it and I wanted to talk about it.
Well, it's stupid. I don't like it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Taking money into somebody's pockets.
Maybe they had a good reason for doing it at one point. Because maybe somebody was cheating, or they thought they were cheating, or some other sign of bullshit. But I don't know. Tell us your thoughts on this one. Send us a tweet. Let us know what you think. Because I'm kind of fired up about it. So I want to hear what you guys think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah, I still don't get it. Just pay the guy. He wrote his
pay the man his money.
And he can choose where he wants to go. It's he's not shackled to. He's not contractually obligated to go to a PRCA short go if he wants to go ride the PBR like the UTBs.
Yeah. Well, Wacey, but you can probably wrap our part up if you want. Got anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Good luck this weekend at Barhead. And
Oh, I'll see you.
Yeah, maybe. Where?
I got to come here and grab a couple things.
Oh, okay.
I'll need a mixer. I'll need a mixer and a microphone.
Okay, well, I can probably rent you those. So that'll work good.
Sweet. That's cool.
Okay, man. Well, thanks for coming by tonight. And coming up next is our interview with Mr. Jeff Robson of the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association. Here's Corbin Ian. Right on. This is Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey. I'm Ted Stovin. Wacey's on the show today, but not in the recording office this morning. He's playing for the city championship for softball, so he's a little busy, but he'll make the next one, I'm sure. But today we've got the general manager of the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association here at headquarters in Calgary, Alberta. It's Mr. Jeff Robson. Jeff, thanks for coming over this morning, man. Sunday morning coffee, kind of pretty good time for a podcast, eh?
You know, I was expecting whiskey, not coffee, so...
well, we've got a few bottles over here if you...
Great selection of some scotches there.
A couple things, some rum from the birthday, the pirate rum, a couple different things, so... Yeah,
and I noticed you even got some, Prosecco for good Sunday mornings.
Yeah, you never know. Got some orange juice or some grapefruit juice, just kind of hook them up, so... Got a few different things there, but look, have you noticed they're all closed, though, right now?
They are closed.
Yeah, so, we could crack one open if you really wanted to, but maybe not yet.
Yeah, I got hockey evaluations after this, so it might not go so
well. Jeff, you were on our fourth episode of the show when we were just kind of getting going. We didn't know what it was yet. It was, we were making it up as we go. We're still probably making it up, really, but we talked then about the Canadian Finals Rodeo moving to Red Deer, and you were instrumental in that happening, and we were first announcing it in that show, and here we are about a year and a half later kind of thing, and we're coming into the second edition of the CFR. Tell me about kind of what's happening, what we've got that's new that's coming up this year, and just kind of what we're excited about.
Yeah, so last year, I think our whole mantra was around trying to execute a good, fast rodeo with, high production. And, I think this year, given all the feedback we got about, not enough booze and not fast enough, I think, we really want to deliver on a different fan experience this year. So, we're going to try and cut down those booze lines. We're going to try and upgrade the food. There's going to be some buffets before the rodeo. There's going to be some buffets after the rodeo. Cabaret is going to be free this year, except the last night, which was when Corb's going to be there as the headliner. So it's exciting. So we're just trying to deliver on an experience where people feel like they're getting great value for their dollar, and we're delivering on a fan experience that says, hey, this should be a lot better.
Well, and like we were talking a little bit before, we might not see much different at the rodeo, but that's not what it's all about. You're going to have a few more beer stands, different selection on food, like you said. I remember in Edmonton, one cool thing was that buffet downstairs where you could go and get a real meal. Because a lot of us, you're working in the trade show all day. You got to either go somewhere. You don't want to have a burger every night. Like, I don't know, I do this 130 days a year. If I ate pizza at every event, I'd be a mess, right? So it's really awesome to have those kind of meals, and it's awesome to hear that you guys have got those things on the go.
Yeah, so the cabaret that's going to be in the pavilion right beside the Centrium is going to have, it's going to host each night. It's going to host a different hot buffet dinner. And, we really spent some time going through the menus, trying to make sure that we're,
awesome.
Kind of, a little bit different theme each night. And we're trying to deliver on that part of it, which seems really odd for the general manager of the CPRA to be talking about food selection.
Yeah.
But if you see me, you clearly know I'm indulging in lots of food, but, anyway, I think that's been kind of the forefront of our discussions this year, and how do we do things better than last year? Like, we did a lot of good things last year. I think this year is going to be better.
Well, and a lot of people might not realize, but like you announced in January, the event was the end of October. Like, that was a pretty monstrous event to try and put together in 8 or 9 months.
Well, I wish we would have had 8 or 9 months. Last year, in September, they let both the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce go and the Western Park, which are our two major partners there. So to pivot that quickly in September and host a rodeo at the end of October, and do it as well as I thought we did. I was really proud of the team of people that worked hard on that event. And, there was a lot of effort put into that to make that happen. So it was behind the scenes, we were all panicking. Up front, it probably looked like things are going pretty smoothly. But like I said, this year, number of changes. Excited about about our Bucko presentation. That was a huge hit last year.
Yeah.
This year we're moving it to a bigger venue.
Yeah.
We got so busy on Saturday night last year that they actually locked the doors and kicked out the head of the Chamber of Commerce. So he was fighting to try and he swore he's going to bring his bolt cutters next year to get in. So this year that shouldn't be a problem. It's going to be in one of the pavilions. We're setting up a really cool kid zone, make it really kid friendly, family oriented, and try and do it kind of between the starting act and the pavilion beside it, and then the headliner. So get done that period of time, and people can migrate over and watch a great entertainment lineup, and still have a cold cocktail, and all do it without ever leaving the buildings.
Yeah. Well, and we could, the weather could be whatever at that time of year. You never know. And it has been all sorts of things, had been all sorts of things in Edmonton, and it might be this year, but having it all in the same buildings, and why you have to have those two different stages too is because the one is rated for 18 and over, like you have with the alcohol there, like there's probably permits that way you have to have the two different stages.
Yeah, and I think two different stages allows us to do a different production in each place. Obviously, be a main production for the entertainers, but we'll also be able to, still get the fans some intimate experience and an up close with the winners of each of the go rounds, and we're really excited about that.
Part of that helps people get to know the guys they're watching. That in our sport, there's not a ton of those opportunities where they get to meet them and get to know them and be able to become a fan.
Yeah, and I think during the trade fair, obviously last year they were constructing a new arm of their trade fair area, and it's all done now. So, the trade show area will be bigger this year than last year. And there's going to be 50 different activations there during the day to keep fans excited about what's happening, including, hot stoves where, we can, we can get people up there and talking about their experience during the week, what matchups they have, what horses they've drawn or bulls they've drawn, or, maybe it's just a rivalry between two guys going head to head as the week progresses, or gals. And so, we're really, I think we're trying to gear this towards just creating an overall experience. If you show up at 10 or 11 in the morning, we're going to entertain you right till 10 or 11 at night. So I think that's pretty cool.
Or later too with the concerts, really.
Yeah, well, that's past my bedtime, so I don't know, but I don't know anything about that.
That's fair. So what are some of the highlights you're really looking forward to? You said, Corb's he's the headliner on Saturday night. You've got the hot stoves during the day. We've got breakaway roping. Let's talk breakaway for a minute. How about that trend this year? That's just been incredible, hasn't it? Yeah, so there's a group that came to us and said, hey, we'd host some qualifiers if you guys would host, would it be possible to host a finals breakaway? And it's something that's been on our mind for a while, so it's not completely foreign. So we're excited about that. Thursday and Friday in the Centrium in the afternoon, I think from like 12 to 2. Yeah. We're going to get a chance to see some of the Canada's finest breakaway ropers and get a chance to, crown them as some sort of champion. And obviously not an official CPRA champion, but, I think that's coming down the pipe sometime. So, it's just another thing that we get to look forward to. And, but there's a lot of moving parts when you added different events into the CFR. So, none of them are straightforward and as easy as they all should seem to be. So. And then the breakaway that way, and you kind of touched on a little bit that might be coming down the pipe. What does that even look like though on the administration or the operations, or I don't even know what wording it would be, but I guess the competition side, technically it's got to come from the office, and it's not easy to just add a new event really in an association.
Yeah, and I think that's the part people get frustrated with. I know when we were trying to add team roping in, that was the frustration part. It's not because nobody wants to do it. There's 40 rodeo committees across the country, and to add another event to those people adds more cost to our committees. We have to be very well aware of that. So, I think our first step would be, at least in my mind anyway, to try and give them the option to host it. And, I'm sure we'll get lots of uptake from some of the committees. How much added money, all those things you have to put into perspective. And then, the rules side of it probably isn't as complicated. I mean, there's some precedents out there in terms of getting rules and whatnot, but, it's another thing we need to administer. We're certainly excited about getting new membership, and why wouldn't we? Right.
Yeah.
And especially, if we could get more female membership, that would be even better. Right. So, I think that'd be great for our organization. I think it'd be great for the growth of the sport. And, but, like I said, those things have to be done methodically, and, let's get through CFR and let's spend some time, our rules committee meets just shortly after CFR every year, and let's try and make some sense of this.
Oh yeah. Well, like you said, to have another female event, it's something that hasn't, there's barrel racing, and it's been that way since they worked their way in, the same way you guys brought the team roping in to make it. And last year was the first year at the CFR that it was equal money, was it not?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And the first year that the team roping was at the CFR was 2000. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And then it took 18 years to get it equal. Like that's been a lot of work as it was to get that one event at doubled up.
Well, that's why I keep telling everybody, like, this is it was a journey, right? So, I guess, from a perspective of, what does it mean to the Cowboys to have equal money in the team roping, and not to dwell on that subject, but, I think it's really important at the bigger events. And, once again, it's something you need to be really aware of when you're going out to the rodeo communities. I mean, some of those rodeo communities are all volunteers, and trying to get that extra money is a big deal. We're well aware of that, but, to have it at CFR, makes a big difference. Last year, Levi Simpson, when he was leaving there, and I mean, Levi and I traveled together for a number of years before I retired, and, he still calls me dad, and I still call him son, which is kind of crazy, but, he called me at the end of the CFR and told me how much he'd won, and, it actually really hit me at that moment. I think he won $56,000 at the CFR last year.
Oh, wow.
And, he said, that's year changing for a guy that missed the NFR last year. And, it still means that if he makes the Canadian finals, doesn't make the NFR, he can still have a great fall. And that means quite a bit to his family, I know. And, certainly, it puts it in perspective as to, other guys that won the Canadian title years previously. I think when Roland won it, I think he won 17,000 at the CFR. Well, he would have won 34,000. I mean, those are big numbers and big changes, right? So I think to see that guys can win that kind of money is really cool.
Well, it makes it one of the challenges is that you've got folks that go from they're a part-time competitor to where they only go to so many a year. Then you have people in the same venue that this is their living. For a guy like Levi, this is how he makes his living. Where, some other folks, it's a hobby where Levi can make a living team roping in Canada.
Yeah. And I think that's, one of the big pushes for me, obviously in helping renegotiate the CFR deal was, thinking about the future of those kids, and, whether it's Levi or others, I think about, Rod Hayes boys that are coming up, and I think about, Robin Burwash's boys that's saddle bronc riding now, and, and some of these young bareback riders like Connor Hamilton that are these young superstars that are coming up, and not having a legitimate home for those guys would have been heartbreaking, right? So I think that was my main motivation to come back and hang around for a little while and see if we can improve on that. And, what the future holds for me is who knows, but, that's where we're at today.
Well, and like you're kind of mentioning it there too, but this is your second stint as the GM of the CPRA, and before that, you were part of the financial committee or financial advisory, the board of directors as well too, right? So
yeah, so I've had a pretty good stint of volunteer time here and paid time. As a competitor since 1988, I sat on the board for a couple of stints as the team roping rep. Through some of the more tougher negotiations to get us to, kind of where we are today. And then, then I left and I'd finished my term as the team roping rep. And then they'd asked me to come back and help, get them through a season that led to 2.5 seasons. And then, the association ran into some challenge and they'd asked me to come back and help again. And I did that, and this is my second year back, and so I feel like I've done more than my fair share in terms of giving back, and so yeah, what's new for me and next? I don't know. I'm enjoying my golf clubs these days, and and enjoy. I have 2 kids that have moved out of the house already, off to university, and 2 more that are getting close, and so yeah, Barb and I talk about what's next on the horizon for us. So
what would be next ideally?
Yeah, well, I'm certainly not going anywhere. We're moving offices this next week at my main job, and anyway, and we just signed a new 10-year lease, so there's no question that I'm still going to work and what I'm going to do. But I really enjoy some of the philanthropy work I get to do. I sit on the Hockey Alberta Foundation board. Obviously coach minor hockey, I have for 13 or 14 years, and helped the Canadian Pro Rodeo Sports Medicine team with their tournament. Their golf tournament and fundraiser, which is their main fundraiser source now, which had great uptake this year, and just giving back on lots of fronts. I still sit on the advisory board at the UFC, so lots of cool things I get to do and be involved in, and I think it really opens my eyes to how big our world is and what sort of things are out there.
Well, and the let's talk during the week at Veda. I don't know what happened, like what you guys all do exactly. I've heard different things, and I think you've explained it before, but kind of tell the folks what you do during the week, because I'm curious about that work.
Yeah, so Veda Capital, the company that we started in, started in the 70s. My parents had started it, and we started in 2001 as really an active investor and trying to do trying to grow our family office. And anyway, we, I messed around with that for about a year, trying to figure out what we were going to invest in, and looked at a lot of things up to and including Peter's Drive-In and some other really cool ideas. And ended up kind of buying a few things that were distressed turnarounds, and rebuilt some of those stories. And we've had a fair amount of success of that. We started off as 2 people as a staff, me and one other, and we've grown now to probably 10 people now, and so it's fun. It's full time. It's a lot, but I have a fantastic staff. They allow me flexibility to work on CPRA issues, some other philanthropy issues, and it's generally giving me lots of headspace to try and think about what's next and for everybody.
I'm just gonna pause this for a sec. You mentioned the golf tournament for the sports medicine team, Jeff. I got to go this year. It was a great time at Valley Ridge. I get to golf there lots now, but last year you guys raised about $23,000, and this year figured it'd be quite a bit more. It's a huge part of the sports medicine team's budget, though. They have a lot of money they have to make up on those sort of events to be able to run for the year. Yeah,
and sports medicine, they make money a few different ways. Obviously, they make money by the committees paying for them to be there, and then they make money through the CPRA, through our entry system. We charge each contestant a couple of bucks every time they enter, and so that those things help, but there's still a fairly significant gap in terms of the quality of the people they bring and what they bring and what they don't charge us for.
Well, in part, you mentioned that they make money by going to committees, but that's often a net zero exchange where they go to these events. They have revenue on that point, but they only get $1,300 to $1,600 a performance, where they got to pay a lot of people and put trucks on the road. They're barely making money at that rate.
Yeah, well, I would say
if they are.
Yeah, well, I would say it's net zero, and then you're still getting the benefit of lots of volunteer hours from the practitioners, and I think that's that's something we've been trying to improve on for a number of years. I don't try and profess that I get into their model of how they work, but I've had the privilege of going to their AGM from time to time over the years, and it's not a get rich quick scheme, that's for sure. And so a few years back when we started this golf tournament, John Winwick from ATB has been a great help. Brandon told me.
John's he's formerly part of the CFR commission.
Yep.
That used to be a thing and isn't anymore.
There's a CFR committee that does most of the decision making about the CFR, but it's similar to the commission.
Okay.
It's run similarly.
And Brandon runs the sports medicine team.
Brandon runs sports medicine, and then we have Kyle Rock is still a volunteer at large. We have another guy that's a volunteer off their board, Jason Kawicki.
Okay.
And then myself, Keenan Vine. So like there's lots of people that are trying to make it better. And I think this year the move to Valley Ridge certainly, I think that it did everything we thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
We filled the tournament, which is the first time ever. We got lots of more sponsors, and I think it was just a wonderful day.
This was year 3, correct?
That's right.
Okay, and then I know we had a ton of fun that day, and like it's $250 per person, so it's $1,000 for a team. Like it's a great day, a lot of fun. Like if you haven't entered yet, you got to go next year because you guys are probably going to try and expand it. I would imagine even more.
Yeah, well, I think the value you get for the $250 is pretty good. It's a breakfast, it's a lunch, it's a really good lunch, a really good breakfast,
and it's $100, $120 course to play normally.
Normally, yeah. So I think the value is good there, and I think the buckles that you can win are pretty cool. Although I think the guys this year were sandbaggers, but other than that,
who knew Nansen and Kale were gonna kind of win that thing?
Yeah, that's good. Good for them.
That's great.
That's the way it goes, and it's a great tournament, great cause, and excited to help out.
You talked about the production at the CFR and how that was a big point to quicken up the rodeo. It was probably at points 45 minutes quicker in Red Deer in 2018 than it had been in previous years. I want to talk about what it took to do that, and then talk about production at other rodeos. Is there any? The CPRA doesn't produce rodeos; they're in the business of administration, technically. But do you think there's some opportunity there to help other rodeos with production, or is that a committee thing? Does that have to be a committee responsibility? I'm kind of curious on the parallel there. If the CPRA might help produce some rodeos, or it's been something I've been curious about. I'm throwing you a curveball here, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good question. So let's go back to the original part of your question, which is, how did we improve on the timing of the CFR? Well, there's a lot of things going in our favor. One, we can move all the stock below the grandstands, right, which you can't in Edmonton. Mm-hmm. So that was, the contestants, ride in their building, they come around the moat and they come right in the box. That speeds that up a lot. And that's nobody's fault in Edmonton. That's just the way,
just a design,
the way the building was. In the old days, when they didn't have the bars downstairs in the Coliseum, that was how it was run.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so adding those bars in definitely hurt that piece of it. It limited the amount of area that we had down there. So I think, that was a big contributor to the speeding up the time events. I think just the general awareness too of our contestants in terms of how they approach the event and how we got things rolling. And, we added, I think we had some timing into it, which, I thought we did a better job of kind of navigating and managing and, without, to the extent that we don't want to hurt somebody or don't want to put somebody at risk. I think that's, it does need to have some production to it. I mean, I think sometimes as contestants, as we go through our 40 or 50 events a year, we're going to take the time we need to make sure we get the best chance possible. But from a production standpoint, that doesn't always look the best. And so I'm well aware of that. I used to take my, I'm not sweet time, but I try and make sure I'm ready and I'm right and do the things we need to do to make a good contest for ourselves. But you have to weigh that off with production and the days of sitting there for 3 or 4 hours, people's attention spans with cell phones and iPhones and, their ability to get access to information, just, even the live streams, we can tell how many times people look at the live streams and fast forward and it's crazy how many people rewatch maybe don't watch it while it's live, but they'll go back and watch it and they'll just fast forward to what they want to see. Huh. And so I think that's delivered on a fan experience we didn't intend. It was an unintentional consequence. But if somebody's just really interested about barrel racing, they can just live stream. They can flip over to the barrel race and watch a barrel race and then get out. But in the meantime, that we still sold a subscription. We still delivered them something they can watch and see and. They can see how the footing was, the ground was, they can see a lot of things that they may be interested in seeing that we didn't really think about as a consequence.
Well, and going on to the production side at the other rodeos, the CPRA, like we talked about, the CPRA is in the business of administering the rodeos, not necessarily the production side of things. So I'm just curious about that. Like, would that be something that might happen in the future, or is it like even on the radar, or like how do we make rodeo better overall, or do the committees come to the CFR and see that and say they want to do that, or what do you think that looks like?
I think it's part of I think the onus is on us to educate our committees every chance we get to have them all together at the committee meetings at CFR. We spend a lot of time talking about how to be better. And, I think to the extent that people are interested and want to know, like I had a call from a committee the other day and said, are we on the right dates? Are we doing the right things? Clearly, we got some bad feedback about some ground issues and that was really refreshing to hear them actually call and ask about, do you want to help? Because we'd love to help. But yeah. I think the other issue is that we spent so much, like there's this massive shift and changing of the guard. Like there's a next generation of people that are coming along that are
at the committee level too,
that are excited about how to be better and how to make the rodeo bigger. And I think it's, that's encouraging to see and to hear. Like, at Sundry, you have Shane Crouch is a second gen guy. His dad and uncle have been there forever. And, so you start to see those guys come along and, you start to, I think before it was like, hey, we got this. We know what we're doing. And I'm not saying they don't. I think that most of them do. But every once in a while when we run into issues, could we have made that better? I think we can make that better. How do we do that? And a few years ago, CPRA at one of our board meetings had talked about, like hiring a production manager.
Yeah.
And
you need about 4 if you have 4 rodeos.
That's the issue, right? How many of those can we afford at one time? Right?
Yeah.
And so, and where do you send them? Where's the help need to be
and
most?
Do they want the help?
Right.
And it's really, really tough too, the whole model of everything, because they're run by volunteers. So, I know personally in my job with doing the sound, I don't want to step on any toes too much either when I go work for a committee of volunteers, and then I don't want to try and say, hey, you guys should do this, or we need to do that, or this. Like, I'm kind of there to do my job, to where all of us are, because we're all kind of contractors. So it's challenging in some of those situations, and working for a volunteer committee, because they're already given their time and they may or may not be an expert in rodeo, which is or isn't a huge part of it. But we're still as in rodeo, we're still in the entertainment business. We're not really in the rodeo business. We're still supposed to be entertaining fans and selling a product in that regard.
Yeah, and I think don't discount the fact that the committees take all the risk too.
Yeah.
So they're accountable to pay all the contractors. They're accountable to come up with the prize money. So, it's a much better model to work with them than against them in terms of, how do you do that, and how do you do it in a way that is helpful. And, I think we've been managing to make some good strides on that front, and people are willing to listen and want to be better. So I think it's, but we all have to do it together. It's a big issue.
I want to go back one story before we finish off here. Last year at the finals, Megan Patrick, one of the entertainers, you were kind of her chauffeur at one point, showing her the venue before her show later on that evening, and you ended up being her personal photographer and had to kind of be the bodyguard, a few different jobs.
Yeah, so the guy that organizes all the entertainment at Westerner Park, he said, "Hey Jeff, we're really excited. We just signed Megan Patrick, and obviously she's a very attractive gal, and so I said, hey, that'd be really great. I'd love to meet her. So I met her. So when I met her, she said, well, I'd love to watch the rodeo. Where do we watch the rodeo from? So we just went up on the concourse and started walking around watching the rodeo. Well, next thing you know, somebody pokes me and says, hey, is that Megan Patrick? I said, sure is. Hey, do you think I can get my picture with her? I said, I'm sure you can. So anyway, it was fun. It was interesting to, she's, she owns a couple of horses, and she has them down in Nashville where she stays, and she's originally from Ontario. And, so, she was interesting. She asked a lot of really great questions, and it always reminds me of, how do we educate our fans? She asked some really, really interesting questions about, the flank straps and, the safety aspects. And it always just reminds me of, sometimes I think we all just live in the moment too much. And, we're not as thoughtful as we need to be about, what people are thinking about and what they see.
Well, and even though it's the Canadian finals, you're still going to have folks like that it is their first rodeo, even though it is the championships of our sport. So we kind of still have to think about that at every different angle.
Yeah, and yeah, that's totally true. And I think the other thing is you brought up a good point about our championships and how do we keep raising the elevation of our championships. And I think some interesting stats that I'd love to share with the fans that are listening is the Red Deer Western Park shared with us this summer, what the economic impact of CFR was to Red Deer. And now, there's not a direct correlation of what the economic impact is to the added money and people get those things very confused.
Yeah.
But CFR brought such a large economic impact into Red Deer last year of $37 million. And, they also hosted the Canada Winter Games. They also hosted, World Juniors the year before that. And CFR was a far, far superior in terms of economic impact to the city. So, it's easier now as a second year there to get, to talk about sponsorships. How do we interact the community? And they're very, very excited about hosting that event.
Well, and speaking of that, they have the new venue now, so everything's connected right from the Centrium all the way around to another
to the Agri Center.
Yeah, Agri Center that's also dirt. So it's like you got two venues. You got it could be ice at one point to dirt on the other end, and then there's how many square feet of conference or space is there? Or
I don't know how much the addition is, but I think there's going to be 350 trade fair booths or something like that. It's crazy.
The newest venue is the biggest one too to connect them all. It's enormous over there.
It's big, and they did a good job with their facility there, so it should be lots of fun.
Well, one thing I want to talk about too, and it was probably something that came up in the move from Edmonton to Red Deer, but seating. There's space on that one end possibly to add more seats. What does the seating situation look like this year? I'm kind of curious about that.
Well, one thing. The seating debacle should be a lot better this year than it was last. Yeah. I mean, that's for
How do you know, though?
Well, I mean, I know because we spent a lot of time talking about that and doing it methodically. And last year there's a lot of reasons why things on our seating front didn't go well. This year we've taken out some of those metal bleachers that were on the west end. Because I don't want to sell that as an experience. It's a terrible experience. I don't want to sell that as an experience. So we've actually changed those to experiential platforms.
Okay.
So they were sold right away. So they're
awesome.
VIP hosting areas on kind of a bit of a platform.
At the west end
by the main front doors.
And there's something kind of similar with the bar at the east end too.
Yeah, and so there's going to be some smaller hosting areas at the other end where there was metal bleachers before, but that platform, or the hump they call it, where that bar is over there, it was a huge hit.
Yeah,
they don't want to take it out. But
that was kind of
but it is a gathering place, and
similar to what the lounge was downstairs in Edmonton.
Yeah,
same kind of thing where folks, if you're more there to visit almost, and you kind of want to watch one event, you can go watch it there.
True.
But if you had seats there, you could maybe potentially have a lot more revenue, where you got to figure out the trade-off, don't you?
Yeah, and I think we continue to walk before we run. I think these new hosting areas will give us a lot of flavor for, is that better than adding in a bunch of seats? Or, I think the roll-up doors between the cabaret and the main Centrium, having the ability to navigate back and forth, if you have a ticket, I think that's going to be big. And, obviously we're live streaming it in the pavilion again. So, it should be some just better overall experiences.
Is there anything else you want to add here before we finish up, Jeff? Just kind of anything you want to put in that we didn't touch on today?
No, I think it's been a good year for the CPRA. We've added 2 new tour rodeos this year on the Finning Tour.
And that probably hasn't happened in years.
No, we haven't had 2 new ones for quite a while. There's a couple more talking about it.
I know Olds this past weekend, they're already talking about it. They want to be at that level, and they keep growing. They're in year 4 this year, just wrapped up, and that's a cool stop. That's a cool addition.
Yeah, so we'd have to figure out where we put them on the tour, because they kind of fall after our tour finale. So do we have to change the venue for our tour finale?
Maybe they're the tour finale someday. Right. Who knows?
Yeah, so it could be lots of possibilities. There's a couple other rodeos that are certainly entertaining it. Had some great discussions with Lethbridge about coming back as a CPRA rodeo, and
because they've been a kind of a rough stock with the barrel racing for the past few years.
Yeah, they've been doing their own thing for a couple of years, but Mike Workington formerly from Northlands is down there helping guide the ship a bit down there, and so we're let's see where those talks go and see what it helps. Regina added a summer rodeo this year. The Pile of Bones.
With Tim Reed, who's also former
Northlands. So clearly those guys see the value in the product and the value in the partnership. So, and not only did he add a rodeo there, but it was a tour rodeo. So that was exciting.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. So, the goal will be let's continue to try and grow. I think quality over quantity is probably the right answer. I know guys say, well, geez, I'd like to go to 70 rodeos a year. Well, I don't know if that's possible. We need to do a really good job of the ones we have and deliver on a fan experience at those ones that want people coming back and want people, crashing the line to try and get CFR tickets. And which, by the way, the sales have been really good this year. So
great.
Really excited about that. And yeah, I think overall, I appreciate what you do for the sport and what you're bringing always bringing some controversial stuff. I always love it. And,
got to get the people going.
Yeah, and hopefully you're joining the team at CFR this year to help us with some hot stoves.
Hopefully, it looks like that's the plan. And you got talking about those different things. So now you got me thinking more. I want to ask kind of like what things look like in the CPRA in the coming years, and what kind of some new ventures might be, or new venues. Like I kind of want to talk about that. That's an interesting thing that way.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of opportunity right at the moment. People are generally excited about rodeo, and like I said, when you get committees calling you going, my rodeo just ended. How do I do? How do I do better? I mean, it really does give us an opportunity to try and make things better. And our corporate sponsors, obviously Finning is a big one. They've been really helpful. We couldn't do rodeo in Canada without RAM. I love those guys. They've been. Whenever we need something, they always seem to help us and step up and fill some gaps when it's available. And, so we're going to try and continue to grow our corporate partnerships and see where we go. And there's like 750, pro rodeos in North America between the PRCA and the CPRA. And, love having those discussions with George Taylor about what's next, what is he thinking about, what is his board thinking about, how do we make this sport better. And their model's a bit different there. The quantity there it does pay for having a big corporate overhead, and we don't have that here. So I think we're still pretty focused on quality, and I think that will reign through. I think the contestants, if we try to do quantity, we won't have the rough stock guys to be able to do quantity. It's getting tougher and tougher to find quality rough stock guys, and our timed event guys are certainly deep in talent, and there's nothing wrong with the quality of our rough stock guys. It's just we need more of them, and how do we promote that, and how do we do a good job of that? So.
And that's a thing that's happened with a lot of the bull riding events. Like there's just a shortage of guys. But I personally, I think part of the issue is that I can make a better living doing something else than riding bulls. Like it's kind of a crazy thing to do, really. And I hate to say it, but I mean, like it's not easy, and it doesn't pay the best, honestly. Like it's dangerous. Like there's been 2 bull riders die this year. Like it is a serious deal, and I'm kind of getting fired up at this point, but like it honestly, in a lot of places, doesn't quite pay enough to risk a life to do.
Yeah, well, even if you could make $1 million and you risk death, like I don't know if it makes if the money's worth
Really,
it, right?
right?
So, there has to be a saw off with quality of life and doing it the right way. And, I mean, frankly, especially in the bull riding, the bulls have gotten so good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's
the
just
investment on the bull side has been way up here, right?
And how do you invest in the cowboy side?
Well, one of the things that PBR did was build the Sports Performance Center in Pueblo, but it's in Pueblo, right? Like, does everybody go to Pueblo and live there and work out of there? Like, I don't know. What do you do? Do you go down there and you get a program and come back and do it? Like, is that something the CPRA could do to help like build the Cowboys? Like, but the investment in that is millions of dollars. How do you even start to do that? The PBR's done, they're a corporate company that's owned by IMG that has so many assets, where the CPRA is we have 45, 50 rodeos to work with, and that's your pool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're all really good points, right?
Yeah.
So it's what's next? That's a great question. I don't see that at the amateur level, I don't see the numbers growing there either.
How do we fix that? Even though do those become CPRA rodeos at some point? Do they become Rodeo Canada, where everything's under one roof? Like, is there a tiered system? How does it? I wonder, right? One centralized office.
Yeah, but I think to your point, if the guys are risking it to get on, they want to get on. They want to know they're getting on something that's safe.
Yeah,
and they want to get on something that's that they can ride. And I think far too long we've used the up and comers to test our pet projects, and they run into the fence, they run into the chute. Like the risk is very high, and it's clear that we just haven't grown the guys as much as we should have, right? Mm-hmm. The older gen would say, well, that's
Cowboy
just that makes you better. Well, does it make you better? I don't know. And then you get the other side of the equation of, well, if I don't like that one, I just turn out. Well, that doesn't serve the fans well, doesn't serve the committees well. But I understand from the contestant standpoint, I understand, they don't want to risk. I mean, like you said, how many people died this year?
Yeah. Yeah, there was 2 different incidences, right?
So
maybe, and there may have been more, but that it happens. It's something that happens. So
yeah,
I don't know. But I appreciate your time here, Jeff. We kind of got off on just a couple different things at the end there, but appreciate you coming by. This was a lot of fun, and looking forward to CFR 46, the second one in Red Deer. Thanks again, Jeff. This was a lot of fun, man.
All right, take care, Ted.
Yeah, I won't sing. Here we wind up like this. Why weren't we able to see the signs that we missed? Gotta turn the tables. I wish you unclench your fists.
I gotta let the chorus. Gotta let the chorus hit. One more.
Oh,
Give me my chorus. Give me a chorus.
Okay.
Here it comes.
Okay.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
You ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, on the microphone, Wacey Anderson.
Someday I will. Someday, somehow, I'm gonna make it alright, but not right now. You're the only one that's there.
I'm glad we did a second half of the show.
Big karaoke guy.
Wacey, big karaoke guy.
Also a huge Nickelback fan.
Storm's in the HQ in the recording studio right now, and she is very confused because she can't hear the music. So and
I'm just singing. No!
So
I'm so sorry.
I'm thinking
bad.
I'm thinking that karaoke, just voices with no music, is probably not as cool as we think.
Especially because I'm a bad singer.
Well, and then we hear it in our ears, so we think you're awesome. But then, yeah. But then it's just you singing in the kitchen with your headphones on.
Never even crossed my mind. Ugh, what an idiot. I like to think that I'm okay. I just have no shame. I don't care what people think when I karaoke.
That was good.
And I love Nickelback.
Well, thanks, Nickelback. We got a couple Canadian bands on the show
Canadian
today.
night. Arkells, Corb,
Nickelback,
Canadian.
Hannah, Alberta.
Nice.
So, got to thank our guest once again today, Jeff Robson. Thank Hefe. and the CFR 46.
Don't want to miss
the
it.
Second year in Red Deer. Come see our show. We're gonna have a show.
Come meet us.
Yeah, come see us.
We'll have t-shirts there.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to give Jeff a shirt. Gosh, dang it. Dag nabbit, I forgot to give him a T-shirt. I meant to.
Darn it.
So Jeff, if you hear this show before I get a T-shirt,
I gotta tell you.
sorry.
Can I tell you a little story from the weekend? It's like not.
Oh.
It's just like
is it
we
podcast friendly?
Oh yeah, we just came up with a sweet idea for like a guys trip.
Oh really?
Yeah. So you do.
I like those.
Riverboat gambling.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Make our own beef jerky.
Yeah, we're actually gonna like. I
You're
looked
gonna do
in.
everything in The Bachelor.
I looked
Or
in.
in the Step Brothers.
I looked into it, and you can
Riverboat
like go
gambling?
riverboat gambling trips in Louisiana. So then we're all gonna go, and you gotta dress up as like if you're like you're from that era, like the late 1800s,
Really?
and then you gotta like have to like be in character the whole weekend. So that's the first day. Then the second day, you dress up as pirates and go on the riverboat gambling.
Huh?
It was good.
It's quite intriguing.
It's like it was a early morning brunch conversation that we just kind of snowballed into like you talk about. I do declare.
I don't think I could do it, man.
No? That'd be so awesome.
That'd be kind of hard. Like I don't think I could handle it that long.
No,
That'd be too much.
I don't know.
I don't think I could
It'd
handle
be
it.
fun times.
I mean, I don't know if I could stay in character that long. I couldn't go full Dale the whole time. I don't think. Like it'd be too much.
No, that's fair. Well, I guess
Yeah.
only thing I could say is like I do declare. That's the only thing I can kind of say in that.
You would just be saying that all weekend.
I do declare.
Oh dear.
Yeah, CFR. Go.
Yeah,
come see
us.
Come see us.
Come see us. It's gonna be awesome. So thanks again, Jeff Robson, for being on the show. Thanks to Wacey for coming here on Sunday night. I'm gonna go watch some more foosball.
Do you have Glorious Sons queued up for the send out?
You like
More Canadian band?
the one like this one you're talking about?
Yep.
This one we know.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, smell ya.